Let's move into main topic number 2. And our second main topic, Rob, what is our second main topic today?
Well, our second main topic comes to us from Kyle. Hey, John. So, putting it lightly, FanDome this year, as we all know, was a dud. But what baffles me more is the Flash Season 8 trailer was just released on Tuesday, a few days after FanDome. Why didn't this release at FanDome? This shows the further incompetence of this year's event, in my opinion. What are your thoughts? Thanks. Well, John, I have to tell you, I was a little baffled by this as well. But I think the easy answer, the simplest answer, the Occam's razor answer would be that the trailer wasn't ready. There was probably visual effect shots they just couldn't complete on time because they've been shooting Flash and they're maybe they're not ready. But although it's getting, I don't know when the debut date is coming up, right? I was a little baffled by this too, and I think that maybe the FanDome event they wanted it to happen now for some particular reason, which I'm not really sure about. But it did seem odd that mere days after FanDome, they dropped the trailer for arguably the I've always thought Flash more so than Arrow was the cornerstone of the CW Arrowverse. And it's kind of their signature show. And I was very surprised by this. And Digital Spy says, The Flash has teased more details of the upcoming 8th season in its first full trailer. The CW dropped the new trailer today, October 19th, showing Grant Gustin's Flash teaming up with characters from throughout the Arrowverse. Season 8 is kicking off with a 5-episode event on November 16th, with episodes becoming available to stream on the CW the following day. The first arc is titled Armageddon. Now, I want to point out, DC did a big Armageddon series in the comics. And they haven't really necessarily billed this as the same crossover event that they had in previous years, like Earth X and all that, and Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I'm really excited for it. I was like, I'll tune in. If they're going to touch on Armageddon, I like that storyline. So I'm stoked. What about you?
I'm not going to lie to you, Rob. I don't buy the theory that the trailer just wasn't ready. They've known. Here's the thing. They've known when DC FanDome was. Right. And I watched the trailer for Flash Season 8. That was not some high piece of art that's like, no, it's not quite right yet. We need 48 more hours to bring this trailer to perfection. I'll be honest with you, it looks stupid. I thought it looked stupid. I've kind of fallen off the Flash train. I have loved this show. And 7 years from now, when I look back on shows that I watched in this era, I will remember Flash fondly. I have really enjoyed this show, but I have fallen off it now. It's, last season was just, that was it for me. I didn't even finish last season, to be honest with you. I got a few episodes into last season. I kind of gave up on it. But the bigger thing here, though, is, Rob, that they're asking. This is not a trailer that took them 3 months to put together.
Right.
This was like random clips from the upcoming show and slap it together and put it in, and it was fine. It's fine. But I don't buy that 2.5 months ago, when they knew when the date of DC FanDome was, they couldn't have had that or something very similar ready to launch. And Rob, it raises the question. Because the day after DC FanDome, do you remember this? Story got released that of a new casting in the Batgirl movie and confirming that J.K. Simmons was going to be Commissioner Gordon in it and all that kind of stuff, which somebody wrote into me and said, well, wait a minute. Why didn't they announce that at DC FanDome less than 24 hours ago? And now here we are just a little bit later, and we're asking now the question, wait, you got this Flash thing and you didn't talk about it at DC FanDome? The event that's supposed to be, hey, everybody, this is the once a year, get the family together. Come on, all DC fans are going to talk about, yeah! Golden boots, everybody, golden boots. They're sitting on a trailer for people who are still diehard fans of the show. They are sitting on a trailer with a first look of Flash Season 8 at DC FanDome, and their way of thanking everybody for tuning in was not to show it to them. Say, now you're going to have to wait for a couple of days, which raises the question, what was the point of DC FanDome? And I don't I don't even ask that sarcastically, Rob. I don't even ask that sarcastically. I legitimately am now starting to wonder, what was the point? Like last year at DC FanDome, it was clear that was an event for the fans. They delivered last year. And maybe they set themselves up for failure because last year's event was so good. I mean, it's not as good as an in-person Comic-Con or anything, but for a digital event, the first one they did, they knocked it out of the park. They did it about as well as you could have done it last year. But this year, the more I reflect on that train wreck of an event, is what was the point? Like, you're not going to even tell them all the news that you have to share. Yeah, no, we'll share that news tomorrow. We're talking about Batgirl on DC FanDome. Tell people about the new characters. Tell people about, J.K. Simmons. Have J.K. Simmons give a little hello message or something like that. Nah. We'll release that on Deadline tomorrow. They're sitting on, they've got the Flash fans there, Rob. They're sitting on the first look at season 8. Wednesday. Let's show it to them Wednesday.
What did you think that the thinking was then behind that? Why bother?
That's the question. See, I see this pop up, and the question is, what was the point? Why bother? Like, I feel like the people in charge over there were like, well, DC FanDome was a big hit last year. We need to do it again. But they never, I felt like the way they organized it last year, they knew why they were doing that event. They knew what they were trying to accomplish. They knew what they were trying to hype up the DC community. They were trying to hype everybody up, creating a virtual Comic-Con to give everybody these huge experiences. And this year, I just felt like they had no idea what the point of this thing was. Are we here to promote new brand deals with Puma and Dove soap and Cam Newton's hats? And are we here to promote this? Well, yeah, but let's not actually show them anything. Like, look, they knew that people were tuning in to hear them talk about, not the TV show, the Flash movie. They wanted to hear them talk about the Flash movie. They didn't even bother to talk about the Flash movie. They literally put up a 1-minute clip in the almost 4-hour event. They did 1 minute of the Flash movie. This movie that's supposed to be this huge, pivotal, upcoming event that will help and influence and shape the direction of the entire DCEU thing to come. And they didn't even talk about it. From the TV side, you have pretty much, now that Arrow isn't there, Flash is your cornerstone show right now. That's it. And you had in your back pocket the first look at the new season. You begged the fans to come and tune into this live stream. And you didn't show it to them. You just kept it in your pocket. Say, now you'll wait. So so Rob, you asked me, what was their thinking behind it? I don't have an answer for it. It has honestly just left me wondering, what was the point of DC FanDome? What were they trying to do? And I wouldn't feel this way if they dropped this trailer of Flash 3 weeks from now, right? But the very fact that the Batgirl news came out the next day, then 48 hours later, the first look at Flash season 8 comes out. I don't know. Do you got a theory, Rob? I mean, about why that news comes out after it, the new trailer comes out after it. What do you think, as you reflect now on DC FanDome this year? Why did they do it? What was the point? What was their philosophy of making DC FanDome this year, do you think?
Well, look, I think on one hand, I would say this. We got really intriguing looks at the movie The Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam. So there was enough there that I can understand why they went forward. But I think, like everything else, I don't think that people are really thorough anymore. And honestly, I can't believe that there was not that trailer that dropped for the Flash, the CW Flash, that wasn't something that people why didn't somebody who's on the production staff of the Flash call up and go, hey, shouldn't we, why wasn't that in there? Are they trying to downplay? I really don't understand. To me, it just screams of incompetence. And incompetence, I'm telling you, I like marketing people. But sometimes marketing people are spending too much time looking at spreadsheets and thinking about analytics and not doing their jobs. Marketing people need to think out of the box. They need to be more like Don Draper. And FanDome is a marketing event. And if anything, I would think about, okay, what is it? Here's everything that we're going to promote that's upcoming in the DC universe. Wouldn't the 8th season of The Flash be pretty much at the top of that list? Especially if they're doing a crossover event with the rest of the Arrowverse. And obviously, either to me, it's a failure on some part of the supply chain to be topical about it. And I don't get it. But I don't think that, look, I think we live in a world now, John, where a lot of people are not being encouraged because we live in a corporate environment, that there are people that might be like, maybe we should touch upon this. Well, no one's told you anything about that. Maybe you shouldn't say a word because maybe it's beyond our pay grade. Oh, okay. And nobody says something when really the idea should be marketing people should be the first people to be thinking out of the box. And I think our corporate culture might have something to do with all of this. And then you get events that are sort of half-baked. And I mean, look, fandom is so between Star Trek Day and DC FanDome, they are so overthought, and they're so people watch YouTube channels like ours, John, because we're off the cuff. You do plan. You're like, okay, here's the topics we're going to discuss, but you never send me a talking points list going, well, Rob, I know we both saw Eternals, but I don't want you to mess it up. So here's your talking points. You never send me that. And the reason that people watch these shows is because we're speaking off the cuff. We're speaking from the heart. And if Star Trek Day and DC FanDome have taught us nothing else, that, my God, I mean, there is no candidness at all in any of these events. They're so constructed and so overbaked that part of the energy that all the hosts should be, the interstitials with the people and the stars and they should be just as much fun as seeing a trailer, and they're not. They're bereft of any kind of spontaneity or any energy, and I think that's part of the problem.
It's funny because on that point, like, everybody knows I'm not the biggest Gal Gadot fan in the world, but she shone last year at DC FanDome. Like when they did the whole Wonder Woman 84 panel, now Wonder Woman 84 didn't turn out to be that great, but still when they were doing the Wonder Woman 84 panel at DC FanDome last year, like, Gal Gadot understood, I'm the lead of this film. Everybody's gonna be looking to me. I'm gonna lead the charge for hyping people up and being excited about it. And when you're watching Gal Gadot last year, it's like she emanated this joy. Like, I am so excited about this project, and I'm so excited for you to see this project, and let's talk about it for whatever. And there was a sense, because Rob, you keep using the word marketing, and I think you nailed it on the head, because DC FanDome to me last year did not feel like marketing. No. It was marketing, but it didn't feel like marketing. It felt like the DC community was coming together and say, let's show you some stuff, but we're also going to tell you about it. We're going to talk about it. We're all going to, we're all just going to soak in this together, whether it's James Gunn doing his thing or the big Matt Reeves presentation or the Wonder Woman 84 thing or whatever. They just had, there was a sense of they truly were getting together to celebrate this stuff. This year, granted, it was less time, but that's not that big of a factor because out of the 4 hours, 3 hours was filler. I mean, 3.5 hours was filler. This year was just, hey guys, here's our first look at Black Adam. Now, here's our first look at Flash. And it's like, okay, you could have just dropped that on YouTube. There was no need for a special event, whereas last year was, okay, here's our look at this. Now let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about what we were thinking. Let's talk about what it is we're trying to give to you guys and blah. This year it's like, here's our 1 minute clip. Boom. Next item. Here's our this. And it was just, you could have just dropped 4 or 5 things on YouTube, the Shazam stuff, the Flash stuff, the Aquaman stuff, Batman, obviously. You could have just dropped those on YouTube over a couple of days. I just don't get. It never felt like the event was needed, unlike last year, which did. So I hope they learned some lessons here. And all I can say is I feel for people who are still really watching The Flash, because that's got to be frustrating. You tuned in to watch for maybe your favorite DC show, and all they can say is golden boots, everybody. Yay, season 8's coming, and then move on, only to find out that they had a trailer. They had the first look at footage from season 8. They just didn't want to show it to you. I think that's frustrating. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole thing? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.